What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. I hope you're all doing really well. We're continuing with the 10.0.7 Paladin trees that have been dramatically changed if you've been living under a large rock. Paladin rework is here. There's big reworks on the class side of the tree, but mostly it's about a RET Paladin rework. They've completely redone the talent tree. We're going to dive into that today. Okay, so hang on to your hats. We got a lot to talk about here. But yeah, this is completely changed now from what it used to be. The structure of it is different. The talents are different. By and large, probably at least 50% of the talents that you had before are gone now for RET Paladin, and they have been replaced with much better talents, in my opinion. I've been talking with a lot of the guys actually just on the PTR, just a bunch of dudes hanging out, a bunch of paladins, and a lot of the general consensus is that it's just better. In a lot of ways. Number one, it's smoother in terms of holy power generation. Yes, we lost a bunch of talents, but we've sort of gained the exact same effects in a more condensed way. The rotation that you're used to as a RET Paladin has basically not changed, but it's more powerful and does better things now than it used to do. So let's jump into it. Let's jump into the actual changes. I'm not going to look at the class tree as much because I just did a video on that. So I'm only going to jump to the class tree when I need to. So go check out the other video for what changed over here. Let's look at this. So the structure is different than it was. Much more streamlined in the beginning. You're going to be picking up basically all of these top ones. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 choices. You must pick 8 of them, right? So you're really only choosing between the utility in the top part of the tree. You've got an instant flash shield, which is really, really great. I think this is actually amazing. Or a cheat death kind of thing if you're about to die. And then there's the healing hands plus new unbound freedom, which I also think is actually incredibly strong. And if I don't actually need the healing from light sterility, I would definitely take unbound freedom because 30% movement speed is OP on RET Paladin. Let me start off by saying, what did we lose from this tree? Because there is stuff that we lost. Quite a bit, actually. So if you'll notice here, there is no Radiant Decree anymore, which was basically like one of our top 3 damaging abilities right now as a RET Paladin. It turned Wake of Ashes into a 15-second cooldown, but it was a spender now instead of being a generator, and it was really strong. So we do have Wake of Ashes, but we've lost Radiant Decree. That's step number 1. We've also lost Sanctified Wrath. Sanctified Wrath used to be over here on the class side, and now that's replaced with the Divine Toll node and the Divine Toll bonus node, which again, we have lost from the spec side of the tree. So we get to pick up Divine Toll for free now, because we don't have to, for free, I just mean on the class side, not on the spec side, but we've lost Sanctified Wrath for RET. It's still on Holy, it's still on Prot, it's not on RET anymore. So no more explosions when you're dealing damage during wings, but that's okay. It's okay. There's other bonuses to Avenging Wrath that actually make it quite strong, and I promise you, we're probably not going to miss Sanctified. Even though I like Sanctified Wrath, I don't think we're going to miss it too much. Ashes to Dust, which was the Shadowlands sort of brought in from Shadowlands, making Wake of Ashes have a chance to reset itself. So your Art of War, whenever Art of War procced, it had a chance to reset the cooldown on Wake of Ashes instead of Blade of Justice. That's gone. Ashes to Ashes, which used to be down in the middle here, it said you gained Seraphim when Art of War proc. That was another Shadowlands import. That's gone. Exorcism is gone, which used to be kind of like right here in the middle. That's just gone. And then Sanctify got nerfed. This thing over here used to say enemies hit by Divine Storm take 100% more damage from Consecration. Now it's only 25%. But that's okay. So you're losing some power there. But again, Blizzard has basically shifted all that power I just talked about. They've shifted it into your other baseline abilities that you cast all the time, namely Crusader Strike, Judgment, and Blade of Justice. Those are all getting massive buffs. So let's talk about what we've gained. You know, we lost Radiant Decree, we lost Sanctified Wrath, some of these other passes. What did we gain to replace that damage? Most notably, I'd say we gain a 30-second Wake of Ashes instead of a 45-second Wake of Ashes. So it's a generator like it used to be. It gives you 3 holy power, but now it's a 30-second cooldown, which just fits really nicely into the flow of how RET Paladin flows now. I'm going to show you that in a minute. We also gained everything cleaving now. Literally everything you do cleaves now. This is crazy. Look at this. Crusader Strike can hit 4 additional targets for 85% damage. Blade of Justice now hits nearby enemies, just all of them, for 21,000 physical damage. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So it just cleaves everybody nearby now. Absolutely insane. Judgment hits 4 additional targets for a total of 5, just like the Crusader Strike buff. Absolutely bonkers. So your main abilities that you're casting all the time now, they cleave to everybody. They just cleave all the time. This is amazing. It also gives us flexibility in the talent tree. When we're running a more single target build, I can flip over to that really quickly, and you can see that we just spec right out of all this weird cleaving nonsense, right? So Blade of Justice doesn't cleave anymore. I've got Empyrean Legacy. I don't have Commanding Judgment, and I don't have Blessed Champion. So this gives us some flexibility in terms of the builds that we want to run. When you're going into Mythic Plus, you run all of this AoE cleaving stuff, and then you're running and you're going single target, you run the single target build instead. So I really love that. I love that flexibility in the talent tree. It's really, really good. I don't actually take Blessed Champion with the build that I'm running, and any of the builds that I'm running right now, but it's something I'm going to look into. What else is better about this talent tree now? I'm going to say that Holy Power Generation is much smoother now, and it starts with this new talent called Crusading Strikes. This is insane. This replaces Crusader Strike, so you don't cast Crusader Strike anymore, and it says that Crusader Strike replaces your auto attacks. It's kind of confusing. All it means is you don't press Crusader Strike anymore. Crusader Strike happens automatically and generates Holy Power for you. Okay? Let me show you really quick. So it's on my bars here, but it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't actually do anything. If I just walk up to a dummy, and I'll throw a Judgment. So I generate Holy Power. Watch my Holy Power. It goes to 3. Now it's going to go to 4. Now it's going to go to 5. I'm not doing anything. I'm just auto-attacking, and I'm getting Holy Power. So this is incredibly strong. This should basically read your auto-attacks generate 1 Holy Power every second and a half or so, and it does crazy damage. It actually does a lot of damage. Over the course of a fight, you're going to see this. It does a bunch of damage. So that's the first piece of Holy Power Generation that that has been a buff to Holy Power Generation. Massive. Now, you also get 2 charges of Blade of Justice now, which is, you can see down here, very huge. This is just right here. Blade of Justice gets additional, that generates additional Holy Power. Blade of Justice gets 2 charges. That's improved Blade of Justice. We have that now. Judgment gets 2 charges as well, or you can choose to make Judgment generate more Holy Power. I think the extra charge of Judgment is pretty sweet. So now here's our Holy Power Generation kit. 2 charges of Judgment, 2 charges of Blade of Justice. Crusading Strikes is just generating all the time, like I said. Wake of Ashes gives us 3 charges of Holy Power, and Divine Toll gives us like 5, if we use it correctly. Also, Final Verdict is here, and we could take Divine Auxiliary, which has Final Verdict or an Execution Sentence, generate 3 Holy Powers, so you could get even more there. So what does this do for us? Let me show you a little gameplay feature here. This basically just smooths out our generation so incredibly well, and it means that we can just focus on dealing damage. Basically, with this build now, every other GCD, you're doing a spender, basically. Let me show you here. So, I'm going to go Wings into Final Reckoning, into Divine Toll, okay? Now we're spending. And I'm going to go Wake into a spender. Blade of Justice into a spender. Judgment into a spender. Hammer of Wrath into a spender. Blade of Justice into a spender. Let me get Consecration down. Blade of Justice into a spender. Judgment into a spender. Look at my damage, by the way. Hammer of Wrath into a spender. I had to do Blade of Justice there. A little bit of a stab, but you can see what I'm saying. I'm doing 1 generator, 1 spender, basically every single time. And you want to be really careful not to overcap. And look at this. My 30-second Wake of Ashes is back, baby. Pretty cool stuff there. Generator, spender, generator, spender, consecration, generator, spender, generator, spender. Let's do a generator, and then let's do a spender. And then you know what? Let's do a generator, and then a spender. Just for fun, let's do a generator into a spender. You can see what I'm saying. It's so smooth now. There doesn't seem to be like a big valley. Like sometimes I think even in AoE damage on RET Paladin currently, you can kind of fall into this like valley, this drought where you're not really, you're just waiting for stuff to come off cooldown. That doesn't seem to happen with this build. And the damage is outrageous. I mean, it's just crazy. This is so crazy. I just did 157k sustained damage. I'm 390 item level. Like, I don't have anything. I have a 384 weapon. I don't have anything on this character. He's just getting into the bare bones of, like, end game gearing for Season 1. And we were pumping 160k sustained damage on 5 targets, and I wasn't even really paying attention. Here's the damage breakdown. You see Blade of Justice and Expurgation is doing a ton of damage. I'll talk about why those are doing so much damage in a minute. But I just want to close out this section of the video and say that Holy Power generation is insane now. It's very strong. It feels really, really good. It feels smooth. The rotation feels smooth. They took all the fancy, weird stuff that was going on before with, like, Ashes to Dust, like Wake of Ashes resetting itself, getting Seraphim on Art of War, Exorcism thrown in the mix somewhere, Sanctify, where your consecration is, like, a huge part of your AoE damage now. It's not anymore. It's you know, down here where it's supposed to be. Where is it? Did I even press it? It's not even registering. Right? Where is it? Yeah, I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Sorry. 1.3%. You can see what I'm saying. So they consolidated all that weird stuff. They got rid of it, and they just said, listen, just press your normal abilities, and they will do all the work for you. Blade of Justice, Judgment, Crusader Strike, Wake of Ashes, and then just get your AoE damage rolling with those Divine Storms. So the Holy Power generation stuff really, really solved, I think. It feels very fun to play. Let me just say that. A couple more things here. There is now a couple of very obvious build paths to take. So for AoE builds, you're going to want to go with Final Reckoning. And you have a Final Reckoning window, just like you had before. 8-second window. Pump all your damage into there as much as possible. Boom, boom, boom. You get lots of big AoE damage going. It's awesome. Now, on single target, you just flip this node over to Execution Sentence. And by the way, they've taken away the Holy Power requirement for Execution Sentence. This was something on my wish list. When I did the Paladin, what I was hoping they would do for the Ret Paladin rework like a couple weeks ago, I was begging them to take the Holy Power cost away from Execution Sentence, and by golly, they've done it. So now this is your single target window. You have an AoE window and a single target window. And the build will change dramatically. You can just do, this is a kind of a physical AoE build, and then you can switch over to a single target build. I'll talk about the single target build really quickly here. It focuses on, it's bugging out right now. It's fine. We'll do it later. Unless it fixes itself right now. No. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, oh, look at that. Give me 1 second to reconnect here. All right, guys. Well, the PTR is refusing to load up again. So we're just going to finish the rest of it on here. I was talking about the single target AoE, different builds you can go. The single target one, of course, has Execution Sentence, which is really cool. It says right here it costs 3 Holy Power. It doesn't. I promise. I showed you in the game that it doesn't actually do that. So this is just the PTR tree on Wowhead, but it's missing a couple of tooltips. But what's really important about the single target build is you get things like Vanguard's Momentum, which gives you 2 Hammer of Wrath extra charges, actually. Not just 1, but 2, which is really cool because it allows you to extend wings a lot when you're in it because of Zealot's Paragon, right? So you get 0.5 seconds increase on Avenging Wrath. And now I wanted to draw attention to the brand new Crusade. So Crusade is now, it's a 2-minute cooldown like it was before, but it lasts for 35 seconds now. This is insane for Ret Paladin. And you can take it into an AoE build or a single target build. I think in the single target build, though, it makes the most sense because you're trying to fit as many abilities into the Execution Sentence window as possible to get that big burst of damage. So I wish I could show you on the dummies right now, but again, the PTR is still down. So what you can do, though, is you can take this 35-second base duration, and because of because of Zealot's Paragon, you can actually extend Crusade up to basically 45 seconds. That's what I got it to. I literally had a 45-second wings duration. So the buff here caps out at 30%. So I had 30% haste and 30% more damage, but you can keep extending the duration of it through Zealot's Paragon. So I think this is the kind of build you might do for single target. You're buffing your Hammer of Wraths, you're buffing your physical damage, you're buffing your Crusader Strike, which is physical damage, Hammer of Wrath, then you're making all this stuff deal physical and holy damage, which is really cool. And I'm going to actually talk really quickly about the different conversions that are coming in for Ret Paladin now as well. So this is one of them. Crusader Strike, Judgment, and Hammer of Wrath now deal holy strike damage, which is physical and holy. And then down here, you're obviously buffing all your physical damage, which is really cool. So This benefits from your mastery. It takes your Crusader Strike and your Judgment and your Hammer of Wrath. Your Judgment and Hammer of Wrath, I believe, already do holy damage. Yeah, this does holy damage. Judgment does holy damage. But Crusader Strike doesn't, as far as I'm aware. Which means it's now going to do holy and physical, and then you're pumping the physical damage as well. So you're double dipping on the damage modifiers there. It's worth it to have mastery as a RET Paladin, and you're also going to get a physical damage increase as well. So that's really, really cool. One of the other conversions, the main conversion node is over here. So Holy Crusader says Blade of Justice and Expurgation, which is the dot that Blade of Justice puts on, now deal holy strike damage, physical and holy, as we just said. So you could actually come down here and grab Holy Crusader with the AoE build that I was showing you earlier, and also grab Physical Presence, which means your Blade of Justice and the dot that happens here are now going to benefit from the physical damage bonus, and they're going to benefit from your mastery as well. The other way you can go is, say, Burning Crusade, which is Blade of Justice and Expurgation now deal radiant damage, which is fire and holy. And then you can actually go over here and get increase the damage of your periodic effects by 30%. Sure. Battle.net, sure. So that means you can, your Truth's Wake dot is radiant damage. So that's a periodic effect. Your Expurgation dot is a damage over time. And then Consecration is damage over time. So you can buff all three of those with Penitence, and then come down here and get a bonus to fire damage, which is going to buff your your Wake of Ashes. It's now going to buff your Blade of Justice, because Blade of Justice is going to deal fire damage now, and your Expurgation will as well. So you can kind of go either direction that you want to go and double dip on some either physical plus holy damage or fire plus holy damage, which I think is super cool and super duper fun. Okay, the final thing I want to touch on for RET Paladin, which is actually, I think it might be the most significant change that's coming in. I mentioned that Crusade is a 35-second cooldown now, a 35-second duration on a 2-minute cooldown. If you flip over to Avenging Wrath Might, it actually becomes a 1-minute cooldown, and I'm really sad that I can't show you here, but this is now a 1-minute cooldown. Avenging Wrath, if you take Might, don't take Crusade. If you just take Might, it's a 1-minute cooldown. It only lasts for 20 seconds. Crusade is 35 seconds. But it gives you that 20% crit and still gives you the 20% damage and healing and allows Hammer of Wrath to be used. So this is an enormous, enormous change. You can opt into an Avenging Wrath that gives you massive crit on a 1-minute cooldown. So every 1 minute in like higher Mythic Plus keys, it's going to be up on every pack. It's amazing, right? It's like Shadow Priest with Shadow Crash and Dark Ascension, right? So exact same thing. Or you can opt into a massive 2-minute cooldown that lasts for basically 40 to 45 seconds with the Zealot's Paragon. It is actually insane. If you take this baseline one, you could probably extend Avenging Wrath Might, up to about 25, 27 seconds maybe, if you're playing it correctly. But this is a really significant change, and having a 1-minute wings feels really good. I was trying it on all the testing dummies today. I was trying just the 1-minute Avenging Wrath Might with the big AoE build that I was running, and it just felt so smooth. It felt like I was doing wings for like 25 seconds basically, and then I had a slight lull period where I still didn't have any lull in my holy power generation. I was just pumping damage, and then my wings just came back so quickly, and suddenly I was back into my wings again, critting all the time with the massive 20% crit you get. So this is, I think, the most significant change that they're going to bring in, and it's really, really massive. So let me sum it all up for you. What happened? We basically got rid of things like Radiant Decree. We're losing Sanctified Wrath. We're losing our Wake of Ashes reset, which is called Ashes to Dust. We're losing the Seraphim proc that we would get for free, which again was like reminiscent of Shadowland stuff. We're losing Exorcism, and then Sanctify got nerfed by quite a bit, but that's okay. They shifted all of our AoE damage into our regular abilities. Our Blade of Justice now cleaves everything. Our Judgment can now cleave up to 4 targets. Our Crusader Strike can cleave up to 4 targets. We're still getting the old school bonuses like Tempest of the Lightbringer and Imperium Power, which is super cool. They've created for us 2 very easy to understand distinct windows. You have a single target build with Execution Sentence and you have an AoE build with Final Reckoning. Those are the two windows that you get to push all your damage into, and you try and burst as much as you can. Our holy power generation has absolutely been fixed. You've got consistent holy power generation from Crusading Strikes. You've got 2 charges of Blade of Justice. You've got 2 charges of Judgment over here. You've got a 30-second Wake of Ashes instead of a 45-second Wake of Ashes. You got Divine Toll on the class side, which gives you tons of holy power. You've got a new Divine Hammer, which replaces Consecration and gives you holy power. I've tested a little bit. It's not super great, but we're going to look into it a little bit more. It feels like basically every other GCD, I'm pressing a spender now, which is really, really cool. You're not like really fully dependent on getting like a proc to make sure that you have holy power generation. There are new conversions happening, right? So we have the Holy Strike conversion or the Radiant conversion, which is super cool, and then a buff to physical damage. And finally, there is the choice between a 1-minute Avenging Wrath might or a 2-minute Crusade that lasts for much longer. It's up to you. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Sorry it got a little bit janky there. The PTR just kind of died halfway through there. But let me know what you think about the RET Paladin changes coming in 10.0.7. I think this is Blizzard's like love letter to the RET community, and it's really, really overdue, but it's happy. We're going to take it. It is an amazing change. I think almost all of the changes coming through are actually incredible. Like they're so strong for RET Paladin, so I can't wait to test it all out. And I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm going to do another video later talking about RET Paladin defenses, and I'm going to put it in with the other 2 specs, so don't worry about that. I am going to cover that, but I just wanted to talk about the offensive stuff today. So, again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.